Mike Tyson was once the most feared man on earth. A kid from the streets of Brooklyn who had nothing became the youngest heavyweight champion in boxing history at just 20 years old. He earned millions. He became a global superstar. People believed nobody could stop him. But behind the fame was a story of anger, pressure, mistakes, and a downfall nobody saw coming. The same man who stood on top of the world would later find himself behind prison walls. This is the story of Mike Tyson. The boy who became a legend, the champion who lost everything, and the man who had to rebuild his life from the ground up. Before the expensive cars, the championship belts, and the millions of dollars, Mike Tyson was just a kid trying to survive. He was born in Brooklyn, New York, in 1966. Growing up, Tyson wasn't the confident fighter the world would later know. He was small, insecure, and constantly bullied. Other kids would make fun of him, and Tyson often felt powerless. But instead of letting that pain break him, he turned it into anger. By the time he was a teenager, Tyson was already getting into trouble on the streets. He had been arrested multiple times. His life was heading in the wrong direction. Then something happened that completely changed his future. A legendary boxing trainer named Cus D'Amato met Tyson. Cus saw something special in him. He didn't just see an angry kid. He saw a champion. Cus took Tyson under his wing and became more than just a trainer. He became a father figure. He taught Tyson that his emotions could either destroy him or make him powerful. And Tyson chose boxing. Inside the gym, Tyson was different. He trained harder than almost anyone around him. He was obsessed. Every day he improved his speed, his power, and his technique. By the time he was 18 years old, professional boxing was already taking notice. People couldn't believe what they were seeing. This young fighter wasn't just winning, he was destroying opponents. His fights were short. Sometimes they lasted only seconds. Fans weren't just watching Tyson fight. They were watching a phenomenon. Then, in 1986, everything changed. Mike Tyson stepped into the ring against Trevor Berbick. He was only 20 years old. Most champions spend years trying to reach the top. But Tyson did it faster than anyone before him. When he knocked out Berbick, Mike Tyson became the youngest heavyweight champion in boxing history. The scared kid from Brooklyn had become the most dangerous fighter in the world. At the height of his career, Tyson seemed unstoppable. He was rich. He was famous. He was everywhere. People were terrified of facing him inside the ring. But becoming famous at such a young age came with problems. The person who kept Tyson grounded, Cus D'Amato, had passed away before Tyson became champion. Without that guidance, Tyson started losing control outside the ring. His personal life became complicated. His relationships suffered. And the same anger that helped him become a champion was now becoming something he struggled to control. The world only saw the powerful fighter. But behind the cameras was a man dealing with problems that fame and money couldn't solve. Then came the moment that changed Tyson's life forever. In 1991, Mike Tyson was accused of sexually assaulting Desiree Washington, an 18-year-old contestant in the Miss Black America pageant. Tyson said the encounter was consensual, but the jury found him guilty. In 1992, he was sentenced to 6 years in prison and 4 years of probation. The news shocked the world. The man who once seemed untouchable was suddenly facing a completely different reality. The champion who filled stadiums was now sitting behind prison walls. At only 25 years old, Tyson had gone from being one of the biggest sports stars on the planet to being an inmate. Everything changed overnight. The fame disappeared. The cheering crowds disappeared. The championship lights disappeared. All that was left was time to think. Prison forced Tyson to face himself. Away from the cameras and the attention, he had to look at the choices he made and the person he had become. During his time incarcerated, Tyson studied, reflected, and tried to understand his life. After serving nearly 3 years, Tyson was released in 1995. But the world that welcomed him back was different. And Tyson was different too. Many people wondered, could the former champion ever return? Could he become the same fighter again? Could he rebuild his name? When Tyson returned to boxing, millions watched. He still had the power. He still had the name. But he was no longer the same young fighter who destroyed everyone in his path. His comeback had highs and lows. He faced more controversy. He faced financial struggles. At one point, despite earning hundreds of millions throughout his career, Tyson filed for bankruptcy. But his story didn't end there. Instead of staying trapped by his past, Tyson began rebuilding himself. He explored new opportunities. He became an entertainer. He started businesses. He became someone who openly talked about his mistakes and his struggles. The world that once only saw him as a fighter started seeing him as a human being. Mike Tyson's story is not just a boxing story. It is a story about success, failure, consequences, and redemption. A boy with nothing became the youngest heavyweight champion in history, a champion who had everything lost it all, and a man who fell from the highest point had to find a way back. Because sometimes the hardest fight isn't against another person. Sometimes the hardest fight is against yourself. Mike Tyson won thousands of battles inside the ring, but his biggest battle was learning how to rebuild his life outside of it.